15.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2018.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor, Ibikule Amosu.
You're welcome to Celebration Television News Desk. I'm Nicholas Akosile Walter. Here are the news making the headlines. FG's 774,000 job recruitment starts today on shaky notes. Central African Republic President Todera wins re-election. England and Scotland begins new lockdowns as cases rise. Oil tumbles after hitting $53 US. OPEC Plus delays decision. I will knock Joshua out within 2 rounds, says Fury. Please stay with us as we'll bring you details of our news after this short break. You're welcome back, and now the news in full. Federal government 774,000 job recruitment starts today on shaky notes. The Ogun State chairman of a special works scheme of the federal government, Senator Benga Obadara, said there was no instruction yet to begin the program in the state. Obadara said the committee had not been asked to commence any work on the scheme. The chairman of the committee in the state, who was away abroad as of time, said he did not know what direction the scheme was taken. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has refused to comment on the commencement of federal government special public work programs as it kicks off nationwide on today against a resolution by the parliament to suspend it. The House had particularly asked the Minister of State for Labor, Employment and Productivity, Festus Keyamo, senior advocate of Nigeria, to suspend the exercise indefinitely until all issues with the National Assembly had against it are resolved. On the contrary, Keyamo had via his Twitter handle announced that President Muhammadu Buhari had approved the commencement of the initiative. While 52 billion naira was appropriated for the scheme, each of the 774,000 workers will earn 20,000 naira monthly for the 3 months duration of the job, amounting to about 46.44 billion naira. Moving forward quickly, SAC service chiefs appoint replacements and reflect a federal character, Northern Group has said. The Northern Elders on today call on President Muhammadu Buhari to name new service chiefs and ensure it conforms to federal character principle. According to them, the appointment of all the current security chiefs from the North is morally wrong and may have emboldened criminals and bandits. The elders, under the aegis of Coalition of Northeast Elders for Peace and Development, in a statement by its national coordinator, Zana Goni, described Buhari's New Year message as empty because he refused to announce the sacking of the security chiefs, despite worsening security problems in the country. He said the announcement of new service chiefs by President should be the New Year gift for Nigerians. The CNEPD said many people died daily in the north as a result of banditry and insurgency, but the situation is being underreported. It came as a great shock and disappointment to them when, after listening to the New Year's speech of Mr. President to Nigerians with rapt attention, believing that he was going to give new service chiefs as a New Year gift, but he didn't. In another development, Nigerians worried about insecurity and poverty more than COVID-19, says survey. Nigerians are more worried over insecurity, unemployment, poverty, corruption, and high cost of living than they are of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has killed over 1,300 people in the last 9 months. A poll which was conducted by INT'L Research and Consulting shows that only 7% of respondents expressed worry over COVID-19 than other issues in 2021. It showed that 16% of those surveyed placed insecurity and crime as the major worry in 2020, while 14% indicated that it was unemployment. About 13% of those surveyed said the high cost of living was their major worry in 2021, while 12% indicated that it was poverty. About 10% indicated that corruption was their major concern, while just 7% noted that COVID-19 will be their major worry in 2021. Disaggregating the data in terms of geopolitical zone, findings indicated that 25% of persons living in troubled northeast say that their number one worry is insecurity, while in the southwest, only 9% of respondents says insecurity is their primary worry. Northeast respondents have the highest fear of COVID-19 outbreak at 11%, while the North Central has the lowest at just 2%. The poll further shows that 25% of Nigerians believe the economy will get worse this year, while 18% believe insecurity will worsen. The North Central has the highest sense of optimism in 2021 at 26%, while the Southeast has the lowest at just 8%. Overall, about 61% of Nigerians surveyed believe that 2021 will be a better year than 2020. According to INT'L, the survey was conducted between December 27th and December 29, 2020, while 26 states across the 6 geopolitical zones were covered. And coming from around Africa, quickly, Central African Republic President Touadéra wins re-election. Central African Republic President Faustin Archange Touadéra has been re-elected in the first round of a presidential vote on December 27th by securing more than 53% of votes in the first round, according to provisional results announced by the Electoral Commission. He won an absolute majority of 53.92% of votes. Matthias Moroba, president of the National Election Authority, said in the capital, Bangui. However, the results must be officially validated by the Constitutional Court if there are possible appeals. Rebel groups had tried to disrupt the vote after former President Francois Bozize was barred from running. Maruba said about half of the country's electorate, or around 910,000 people, had registered to vote, and turnout among the registered voters was 76.3%. On December 30th, a coalition group called for the elections to be cancelled because they said 1/3 of voters were unable to cast their ballot because of insecurity. The Democratic Opposition Coalition said the presidential and legislative elections were not fair and inclusive and are in no way the expression of the people's will. And still coming from around Africa, taking the boat to school in flooded western Kenya. Some Kenyan students in Kisumu County, close to the overflowing Lake Victoria, are forced to take a boat to school only to find waterlogged classrooms and no teachers on site. Public schools have reopened in Kenya following a closure added by the government in March 2020 to curb the spread of COVID-19. The flooding has made parents spend more in maintaining their kids' attendance to schools despite the beckoning dangers. The floods now pose high risk to the learners, as some of them are expected to compete with other students and schools in the upcoming national examinations. Kenya has had almost 97,000 cases and over 1,600 deaths since the start of the outbreak, with a surge in its positivity rate of up to 20% in October, decreasing to below 5% in the past week. We'll go on a short break quickly. When we come back, we'll bring you updates from the United States of America. Stay tuned.
To be selected.
The voice of God is the Holy Ghost. The message of the church is Christ. But the hand of God is the church.
Impact the chosen.
Power. Spirit of God. Spirit of God. Power. Spirit of God. Power.
The vision is to be enhanced with the truth and practicality of the call. Have an extensive teaching on how to do ministry in line with instruction. Ministers Conference 2021, Benin City, with Apostle Johnson Suleiman.
We are believing God for the fire of the Holy Spirit, genuine apostolic move of God, restoration of prophetic grace, impartations of glory. I will be in Benin for a powerful ministers conference. It's going to be 3 sessions. On the 6th, we are coming there by 4 p.m. On the 7th, it's going to be by 7 and 4. Please, registration actually will begin on the first day morning, which is on the 6th. As early as 6 a.m. registration begins. Attendance of this conference is going to be strictly by registration. It is the man that makes the ministry. Come and be equipped. God bless you.
3 sessions, 2 days, 1 teacher. 6 and 7 January 2021 at Omega Fire Ministry Southern Region 2 Headquarters, Plot 2/4 Wyatt Road at Duwawa, Benin City, Edo State, Nigeria. For inquiries, send a message to +234 909 258 9071. Ministers Conference 2021, Benin City.
Welcome back. Now updates from the United States of America. Georgia Senate. Biden and Trump rally voters on eve of poll. In dueling rallies, President Donald Trump and President-elect Joe Biden have implored Georgia voters to turn out for elections on Tuesday that will decide which party controls the Senate. Mr. Trump, a Republican, and Mr. Biden, a Democrat, said the vote would shape America for years to come. More than 3 million Georgians have already cast ballots, nearly 40% of the state's registered voters. If the Democrats win, they will control all of Congress and the White House, with the Senate on a knife edge. Asia shares plunged early today amid the political uncertainty in the world's biggest economy. The Republican Senate incumbents in Georgia, Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue, are fighting for their political lives against 2 Democratic challengers, John Ossoff and Reverend Raphael Warnock. The Senate has the power to approve or reject Mr. Biden's nominees for cabinet and judicial posts, as well as the bulk of his policy wish list. And more updates coming from the United Kingdom. England and Scotland begins new lockdowns as cases rise. People in all of England and most of Scotland must now stay at home except for a handful of permitted reasons as new lockdowns begin in both nations. Schools have closed to most pupils in England, Scotland and Wales, while Northern Ireland will have an extended period of remote learning. England's rules are due to last until at least mid-February. Scotland's will be reviewed at the end of January. Prime Minister Boris Johnson warned the coming weeks would be the hardest yet. It comes after the UK reported a record of 57,784 cases on Monday, as well as a further 407 deaths within 28 days of a positive test. Announcing England's lockdown, Mr. Johnson said hospitals were under more pressure from COVID than at any time since the start of the pandemic. He ordered people to stay indoors other than for limited exceptions such as essential medical needs, food shopping, exercise and work that cannot be done at home, and said schools and colleges should move to remote teaching for the majority of students until at least half-term. Quickly, we'll move straight to business news. Oil tumbles after hitting $53 and OPEC Plus delays decision. The international oil benchmark Brent crude tumbled after hitting a record high of $53 ahead of a meeting of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies. OPEC and its allies, a group known as OPEC Plus, met on Monday but ended discussions without any agreement on production levels for February. The meeting was adjourned to today. The market declined despite expectations that OPEC Plus would hold off on increasing output in February, and optimism over a vaccine-driven economic recovery. Brent, against which Nigeria's oil is priced, rose by 3.6% earlier on Monday to $53.30 a barrel, its highest since March 2020, but fell to $51.24 per barrel as of 8:30 p.m. Nigerian time. OPEC Plus increased output by 500,000 barrels per day this month, but some members have questioned the need to increase more from February due to an upsurge in the COVID-19 pandemic. The group agreed in December to gradually increase their oil production and to hold monthly meetings starting from January to decide on further production adjustment until the total production increase reaches 2 million barrels per day. And still on business, equity market begins 2021 positive with 459 billion naira gain. Trading activities on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange opened the new year on a positive note following gains recorded by major blue chip firms. The market performance indices, the NSE, ASI, and market capitalization appreciated by 2.18% as some blue chip stocks recorded price appreciation. Market breadth closed positive as Honeywell Nigeria Flomis PLC led 32 gainers as against 2 losers topper by FCMB PLC at the end of the trading session, an improved performance when compared with the previous day. Meanwhile, a turnover of 211.93 million shares exchanged in 3,438 deals was recorded in the day's trading. The insurance subsector was the most active, measured by turnover volume, with 98.26 million shares exchanged by investors in 114 deals. Premium subsector boosted by activities in the shares of Access Bank PLC and Dangote Cement PLC, followed with a turnover of 43.36 million shares in 1,336 deals. We'll go on a short break. We'll come back. We'll bring you sport news. Stay tuned.
wait is over. You can now connect to Celebration TV's official website, www.mycelebrationtv.com. Specially designed for your satisfaction, you get to access a lineup of inclusive contents and programs of Celebration TV. Get the latest updates and news stories from our news desk. Be kept abreast on infos about all outreaches and events of the Resurrection Apostle Johnson and Dr. Lizzie Suleiman. Watch Celebration TV on the go via our 24/7 live streaming service. With all these and more, we make you a partnership with us as we take the gospel around the world way easier with just a click. Hurry now. Visit www.mycelebrationtv.com.
Welcome to Sports News. I knocked Joshua out within 2 rounds, says Fury. Tyson Fury said he can knock out fellow British world heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua inside 2 rounds due to his recent form. WBC bet holder Fury said that following Joshua's past 2 bouts, a unanimous point decision over Andy Ruiz Jr. in December 2019 and a 9th round stoppage of Kubrat Pulev last month, the fight will be a no contest. Fury gained a unanimous point decision over Swede Otto Wallin in September 2019 before an impressive 7th round knockout to take the WBC title off Deontay Wilder last February. Fury is optimistic about the fight, which would be one of the biggest in British boxing history and will take place as soon as possible. Potential hurdles in the way of the super fight include Joshua's WBO mandatory challenger Oleksandr Usyk and another possible meeting between Fury and Wilder. Now, another sports news. Premier League to continue during lockdown, says UK Prime Minister. Premier League football and other forms of elite professional sports in England will be allowed to continue despite new national lockdown restrictions announced by the British government. Nearly 56 million people in England will return to a full coronavirus lockdown possibly until mid-February to try to cut spiraling infection rates, Prime Minister Boris Johnson said in a televised address. One key point in determining whether a sporting competition can go ahead will be if it has, as the Premier League does, a testing regime and the provision of biosecure bubbles in place. But a lockdown similar to the one introduced in England in March last year as a result of a rising number of COVID-19 cases means outdoor gyms, golf courses and tennis courts will close, with amateur outdoor team sports prohibited. They are all on a Scottish government exemption list that states those involved in professional sports for training, coaching, or competing in an event are among the groups those allowed to leave their homes. And that has brought us to the end of the news on Celebration Television News Desk. In case you missed out on our news, here's the news headline recap for you. Federal government 774,000 job recruitment starts today on shaking out. And Central African Republic President Todero wins re-election. England and Scotland begins new lockdown as cases rise. And on business, oil tumbles after hitting $53 and OPEC Plus delays decision. And on sports, I'll knock Joshua out within 2 rounds, says Fury. And quickly we have photo of the day, which simply depicts that not every place you fit in is where you belong. So you can drop your comment on our social media platform on Facebook, Celebration TV, Instagram, My Celebration TV, Twitter at My Celebration TV, YouTube, Celebration TV. Remember that your positive contribution to the wellness of a society you find yourself or the organization you work defines your leadership mind. As an individual who knows what to do and do without expecting to be pushed has bagged his ways to success. Be it known today that everything we do, think, feel, and believe either has a positive or negative effect on humanity and our national well-being. So be a part of nation building today. Thank you once more for staying with us on our news desk. It's been a wonderful time right here on the news desk indeed. I remain Nicholas Akosile Water. Do have a wonderful time. To 15.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2019.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor, Ibikule Amosu.